And you spoke a little bit about them needing socialization and stuff like that. Personally, I'm terrified of mouths. So, what is their temperament like, and what kind of home should they go to?
So, according to the standard, and in my opinion, they should be aloof, right? They should recognize that you're there, but they should not be fearful or aggressive. They should be a confident breed, a proud breed, right? But when it comes to socializing them with both children and people in general, they should be able to distinguish whether or not you're necessarily a threat and be able to distinguish that. They do have what we call scary dog privilege, right? So people see them, they're traditionally police and military dogs. So they do get a little apprehensive about the breed. But, going through a show, right? Thousands of dogs, thousands of people, should be able to go through that no problem, which Kraken does. Wiley was my service dog. I have relapsing MS, which is an autoimmune disease. We ran through airports, catching connecting flights and everything in between. I had to take all his equipment off and put him in a downstay to go through TSA. I had TSA hard staring him, kind of daring him, which I was very upset. I don't know if anybody else flies out of Miami, but their TSA is leaves something to be desired. How about that? That's the kindest way I can put it.
Mhm.
So, to be able to do those kind of things is extremely important to me. But when the time comes, right, and I'd say the magic word, he should be able to, bite or protect me in whatever case. Fortunately enough, I've never been in a situation in the real world where I've had to test that theory. But definitely lots of bite work sports training for those titles and for the situations, I guess.
So, do you think that everybody who owns a Mao should be doing stuff like that? Like, what kind of home can they go to?
Yeah, so there's a broad spectrum, right? So you have everything from, active companion pet home to, look, this is a working dog. You have to do, you know, something intense with it.
Hmm.
Right. So Isla, my first Belgian Malinois, she was sold as a pet active companion dog. Um, she's still AKC champion. She did lots of coursing. She's been in movies. She's done kind of all the things, knows work. They're still able to do those things. They just won't be able to do it with the intensity. Asked my breeder for the next step up with Lita. She's been on ESPN for dock diving, a very powerful dock diver, good at rally, AKC champion. Then you have Wiley and Kraken. That Wiley was personal protection dog. He wasn't great at the sports. Um, Wiley wanted to win the fight before he would, listen to, potentially command to call off, which is not a bad quality if you know how to control it correctly. Kraken is a very intense dog. He has to be worked. Now, bite work and herding aren't the only working you can do, right? AKC, UKC obedience, rally. There are a lot of working titles that you can pursue and training you can do. So your average person has to work their Malinois, um, but it may not necessarily have to be in an organization. Bike touring is becoming very popular. It's where people ride the bikes and the dog pulls them ahead. Malinois are good at that. In Alabama, there is a biathlon over water and between water and land, and you have to go across the telephone poles and everything else like that. So there's a lot you can do, but you have to do something. This dog isn't just going to sit on the couch, right? It's if you don't give it a job, it's going to give itself a job, and that's rarely a desirable uh, thing you want to do.
Yes. So let me ask you, what kind of home should they not go to?
Um, they shouldn't go to a home that is not going to work them, is not going to do something with them.
Hmm.
What's your plan? Oh, just have a dog. I'll let it out in the backyard when I get home. Stay out there for 20, 30 minutes and then come back inside and do nothing. And I'm not saying I have a autoimmune disease, and there's days I don't feel like doing a whole lot, right? And there's days that I feel like my Malinois understand that, and the off switch is good in my lines, which is
Hmm.
something extremely important to me. Um, so we can do that, but there's rarely a weekend we're not doing something dog related, whether that's bite work, whether that's going to a show, whether that's coursing or dock diving or whatever.
Right.